Good morning. We are now joined by Marcia Gaborowski with Ann Arbor Spark. Welcome, Marcia.
Thanks, Janelle. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. We love having you on the show. You just have a wealth of knowledge and resources, and it's just really relevant to the things that we discuss on our show as we're talking with business owners and people out in the community.
Right.
You're doing those same things, and so
Yeah.
you just bring a really nice perspective. And again, I'm just excited to have you here. So for those of you that are listening that may have not heard Marcia on our show before, Marcia, did you just want to give a quick introduction about what it is you do?
A little bit about what I do. So, I am the Director of Business Development for Ann Arbor Spark. So, we are Livingston County's local economic development agency. Our goal is to work with businesses of all sizes to retain our businesses, help grow our local businesses, and attract new businesses into Livingston County in certain key industry areas.
Absolutely. And what are those key industry areas? Did you just off the top of your head a few?
Yeah, so Michigan is a big state, and parts of our state, like on the west side, it's really focused on healthcare, and like people might know like furniture on the west side and ag. In southeast Michigan, we are really automotive centric, and so when we look at the industries that we know we can continue to grow and be leaders in, it's advanced manufacturing. So manufacturing, we call it 4.0, as well as IT and big pharma. So working with the advanced manufacturing of pharmaceuticals and medical devices, but a lot of IT. And then we're really growing in the industry of financial technology.
Awesome. And you're seeing that here even in Livingston?
Even in Livingston,
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, again, this is exactly why we have you on, just because there's always we work together in multiple capacities for those listening, and it's always interesting because whenever Marcia comes on, I always learn something new. So whether you may have heard her before or not,
worlds are always, we always try to find the middle of that Venn diagram. So
exactly, they're always overlapping, and then there's always innovation too.
Correct.
So things are constantly innovating. Well, you mentioned, Marcia, that you guys are the kind of that EDO right here in Livingston County, but through that EDO, that's kind of works directly with our EDC. So if you want to talk a little bit about what the EDC is and does, that would be really helpful too.
So Ann Arbor Spark is a public-private nonprofit, and they focus on Washtenaw County. In Livingston County, we have a public-private nonprofit organization called the Economic Development Council of Livingston County. And so Spark is simply contract staff to the EDC. So there is a contractual relationship with the EDC and Spark for the EDC to have full-time staff here, boots on the ground in Livingston County. And so I've been in this role for 5.5 years, and it's really just making sure that we've got good relationship with the businesses, and that I can pull from the knowledge base that Spark as an organization has, but also statewide within the region. The relationships with universities across the state, federal programs that we do frequently work with, that we can make that in-person push to and make those available to our local businesses.
Well, and that's huge because it's just such an extension, and just an opportunity to have that resource or that connection.
Exactly.
And it really goes a long way, especially when you're looking at things like recruiting, growing, and attraction.
So a big thing after the pandemic, a lot of our businesses are wanting to get back into diversifying their sales, or they're seeing a percentage of sales going to an industry that they hadn't really serviced for a number of years pre-pandemic. And so there are a lot of programs, just even at the state and regional level, where it's just a referral of a person that's in charge of that program that can really help some of our small businesses with assistance and helping diversify and grow sales. And so even if it's at that level, we're finding success there.
Well, good. That's great. We'd love to hear that.
Yes.
So, well, thank you for all the good work you're doing through the EDC. And, with the EDC, I know that you guys have a very special event coming up. So I was hoping that we could touch on that a little bit today.
So EDCLC is run by a board, so it's the annual meeting of the EDC, and Spark does plan it for the organization, and it has become pretty much the group's signature event. We have in the past done videos highlighting the different industries that are here in Livingston County in the last few years, and we'll continue on this year. We want to recognize large projects. So we'll have a Project of the Year award. We will recognize a Resilience Award. So a business or organization that has made like a pivot as a result to, a hurdle. And of course that came out of COVID,
I was
who
gonna say, we
pivoted.
saw that a lot, yeah.
Right. And so last year's ChemCrest was our Resilience awardee because during the pandemic, they switched their production to hand sanitizer.
Yep.
And they've made, I can't remember how many new SKU numbers they produced full time now.
Wow.
Because, and so it was an area of growth for that company. And then Talent Innovator of the Year, and that is still something that I'm so proud of, and I love working with you, Janelle, on some of the collaboratives that we are on with LESA. But continuing to connect talent into Livingston County with our employers, getting our employers exposed to our students, our CTE programs, and our universities throughout the region.
Yeah, I that's definitely one of my passion points,
Yeah.
and I just love that. That somebody's. I mean, it's exciting to me that somebody in our community is going to be recognized for the work that they're doing in our business.
Right.
To have that recognition, because it is so important and so valuable, and we know that these are huge needs. I mean, if there's one thing that we're hearing consistently, it's workforce.
Yes.
So anything that we can do to help bridge that gap or close that, I think is amazing and outstanding, and obviously worthy of recognition.
And that's what the perfect segue. We'll be doing another panel discussion during our annual meeting. And thank you again for moderating this year's panel discussion.
It should be fun.
It is called Redefining Normal, Adapting to the New Workplace Expectations. So last year we did Where's the Workforce? And that seemed to go over really, really well, and just bringing a lot of different perspectives and best practices. And I think that was the overwhelming response. How can we build on that? How can we use this event as a platform to share best practices? So we want people to, have the ability to network, celebrate the success of our businesses and local economy in Livingston,
Absolutely.
but then come away with a story or I didn't think about that. And so we have a dynamic panel. Nathan Bird is the EDC chair this year, our county administrator, and so he'll be one of the panelists. So we're excited to have that as part of our program this year too.
Absolutely. And could you share with me who else is on the panel?
Oh, sure. So we have Marianne Marr, and she's the Executive Director of Real Estate for Consumers Energy.
Okay.
Dan Roman, he's a software developer with Menlo Innovations out of Ann Arbor. So he's coming in from an employee perspective of how an employee perspective. Okay. Yes. And then Yasmeet Kaur, and she's CEO of CultureBee, and this is something that her organization does full-time with organizations and helping to develop culture.
Where are they based out of?
They are also based out of Ann Arbor.
Okay, fantastic.
Yep.
CultureBee, I love that. I'm excited about this panel. So, also, I don't know, Menlo Innovations is, for those listening, if it's something that you may have not heard of, it's definitely something I would recommend you kind of just digging into a little bit, because they have a very unique approach, even pre-COVID, to a work environment and what it means to kind of go to work. And we spend so much of our time at work and in the workplace, or maybe not so much anymore, but kind of looking at things through different lenses and perspectives, I think will be wildly beneficial to those that are attending, and as specifically as it relates to workforce.
Correct. And Nathan oversees both union and non-union employees throughout the county government, and so that's been a really dynamic thing. Even at a government level, so he's bringing in a good perspective of those that you have to be in the workplace, and how has that been able to be transformed into a good culture so people want to be in that workplace.
Absolutely. So it definitely sounds like the diversity of thought on the panel will really give insight to the different lenses and just how to navigate some of those waters. So hopefully you guys can attend. And so date, time, where?
So it's at Crystal Gardens, November 10th. So it's coming up. Tickets are $35. And we are so grateful for our sponsors, our gold sponsors being Trinity Health. We have DT Energy and Lake Trust Credit Union.
Awesome.
So yeah, $35 tickets, AnnArborUSA.org. You can find registration info for this event, or just email me or call me.
I was going to say, as soon as we get information too, we'd love to include it in our membership e-blast that goes out so that our members are aware of the event as well. And that goes out to the community at large too. So, somebody that maybe isn't a member of the chamber, we absolutely would encourage you to come and just learn. And it's a great opportunity to engage with your community and the businesses there as well. So
that's what we're hoping for.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be an incredible event. What can you tell us about some of the previous events that you guys have held?
So again, these have transformed during my tenure in this role, and they've gone from just a simple annual board meeting to let's open this up and let's make it more of an event and not just a board meeting. So we kind of started small, and I think like our first event, we had about 50 people, and we were really happy.
Oh yeah.
And then the next year we celebrated 10 years. So we Spark and the EDC celebrated 10 years together, contractually.
Oh wow.
And so we highlighted manufacturing, healthcare, and headquarters here in Livingston. Those were like the three areas, and we still have those videos that on our website that we just like, hey, this is really good. And then it just kind of grew from there. And we've done keynote speakers in the past.
So were the awards kind of something new that was tied into that?
Yeah. So interestingly enough, 12 years ago, we did awards, and then they just stopped happening. And last year, I said, you know what? Well, let's bring back the awards. So like, hopefully, we can consistently, and make this a thing. So I am so excited. Second year in a row. Last year, our project of the year was ISIN, or FT Techno, the autonomous vehicle test track in Fowlerville, doing more expansion. And then ChemCrest was our resilience award. And that was like, it was a really big deal to, have and make recognition to those efforts.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And that kind of goes back to the point we made earlier of just, seeing like these really impactful things happen and then making sure that they're recognized for it. Because these things aren't happening for the recognition. They're happening and people aren't aware. So let's make them aware. Let's celebrate that, because it is something to celebrate. So we are really excited to have you on today, Marcia, and we are going to take a quick break in just a minute here. But Marcia's actually going to come back on and join us because we have more exciting updates from the EDC and just kind of some of the partners that Marcia and I both work with as well. And we want to make sure that we're sharing that information and getting it out there. But we hope to see you at the EDC meeting. Contact Marcia for that information. Marcia, do you want to provide your contact real quick?
So my email is Marcia, MARCIA, @AnnArborUSA.org.
Awesome, and we'll be right back.